Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, we have an outstanding, close to 90-minute show today. We have three massive topics to get into. One, of course, is going to be a little pointed. That's going to be the opening salvo. And that is something that many in the games media seems to be bringing to the attention of the masses, but they're forgetting all the other platforms. And what am I talking about? Well, we had a couple of reports from numerous publications, including IGN's own, Ryan McCaffrey, VGT, and several others that proclaimed that Xbox was in big trouble due to the delay of Grand Theft Auto 6 until the 19th of November. But I guess they forgot to mention and potentially think about PC, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. Those apparently are not in trouble. So we're going to get into that. That should be a fun one. We also have the big topic of the show, and that is a confirmation that Microsoft has put in an order for 50 million Magnus chips for their next generation Xbox. That story comes the way of, hold on, let me pull it up. That is geekygadgets.com. We will be breaking that down as well. And listen, yesterday, hold on a sec. We got Infinite, or should I say, Unreal Umbra joining us. Umbra, we'll get to you in a hot second. Our third topic of the show, folks, is going to be whether or not we all think it is time for Bethesda, or at least Todd Howard, to hand over the reins of the Fallout series. And because Fallout 5 is not expected for at least another 4 to 5 years, Obsidian, because they have so many people working at the studio and they can handle a lot, is it time, ladies and gentlemen, for a sequel to Fallout New Vegas? We're going to break all of that down. Jamie Moran, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Hey, man, happy to be here. I'm in a good mood. It's been a good week of gaming. Lots of stuff to talk about. Didn't lose all my stuff in Arc Raiders last night, which was a nice change.
Excellent.
But yeah, let's talk about it. I love Fallout, as people know, and finally we can just talk about something new when it comes to Fallout, because I've played Fallout 3 a million times. I need something new.
Yeah, well, you get ready to play it again, because we had a story break from Video Games Chronicles yesterday, and we talked about it, about how Fallout 3 Remake is real. How real? Well, pretty damn real, to be honest with you. We are. I would actually think, I'm spitballing here. I have no idea. But if I was a gambling kind of a guy, and I don't gamble, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I've never done any kind of drugs, folks. So yes, I'm boring AF, but it's fine. I'm going to live forever. I would say that as we get closer to the Fallout TV series season 2, that's not only going to New Vegas, but will be out in December on Amazon Prime, I can see them shadow dropping that, to be honest with you. But we will certainly see. Infinite Umbra, or should I say Infinite Unreal Umbra, or Magnus Umbra? I don't know. You have a lot of names, sir. How are you feeling?
Boom, my brother. What's good with ya? Jamie, what's up, my man? What's up, chat? Yeah, man, I am enjoying me some Outer Worlds 2 currently.
I knew you would, brother. I cannot wait to take 5 seconds or 5 minutes to talk about it, because I just crossed the 5-day, 10-hour mark. PS5.
Oh, nice. Oh, you're getting all the time out of it then.
Oh, I am doing a lot. And I did a mission. No spoilers. We'll talk on the back end. There is a very particular situation towards the end of the game. And I was able, the first time I did not get it done, but there's a way to get certain groups to work together. And it is a very difficult achievement. I got it yesterday at 1:05 in the morning, because I was up that late playing that game. And my God, it's just brilliant. It is everything that we love about hey, look over here.
Mhm.
Oh, snap, that's shiny. I'm going, and forget about what's over here.
You know, and the thing about it, like for me, you already know how I play these types of games. Same as you, right? Where we go on to look under every rock, check out, you know, every nook and cranny. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm still on the I don't know how many hours I got a lot, but I'm right now on the second planet at the end of it.
Okay, nice.
Because I searched everywhere on the first planet, did so for the little free market area. Then, of course, now the second one, and I'm just everywhere searching everything and uncovering everything, getting all these collectibles, things of that nature. So,
what's your favorite weapon so far, sir? What have you found that one weapon you're like, yo, this is where it's at?
It's a few I'm liking a lot.
Okay.
I like first off, I like modding it to put the explosive rounds on it.
Very nice, sir.
So,
I like doing that as well.
I got the sniper rifle, and slowing down time with the distillation, whatever the device, and
now, do you make it plasma or do you do the explosive rounds on that?
I think I put plasma on that one.
Plasma is good because it melts them.
Yeah, it does. And so I have a machine gun with plasma on it, and just disintegrates. Also, too, the electricity one. If you use that enough, they'll disintegrate too. At least the robotics. The robots and such, they'll disintegrate as well. But no, man, it's dope. Also, too, they got the bio whatever weapons too that actually melt them too.
That melt them, yeah, dude. Yeah. It's crazy that you got to pour the liquid into as you're reloading. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he pours liquid into them. Like, that can't be safe. But yeah, I think if I had to pick one specific weapon that I'm really, really loving, it's probably currently well, for a while I was also using that triple shotgun too.
That's dope, dude. That kind of reminds me of there's a movie. I don't know if you ever heard of it, called a horror movie called Phantasm. And the guy Jerry actually had it was a quad shotgun, actually, sawed off. So every time I use it, I would just think about it, because it is a triple barreled shotgun, and you fire 3 rounds at once. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm liking all the weaponry pretty much. I know you start off with like the little pistol, whatever. The
look around every corner, do some side missions. I found a particular one. We'll talk on the back end. Jamie, we'll get your thoughts on it. What your favorite weapon is? And Chad, get involved over here. My favorite.
I found the scythe, by the way.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, electric, like not electric, but like this plasma scythe. Anyway, go ahead though.
No, shout out to Hazardor Game. He says the thumbnail looks like someone asks Phil about the 4 games. Yeah, I needed a sad looking Phil Spencer. Usually my thumbnails are much better. It's all I had. So
yeah, he looks upset like hell.
He does look pretty, and we'll get to why he looks like that in a second. Shout out to Hazardor Game, one of my favorite people to follow. Folks, if you're not following Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, you're doing it all wrong. The man is an incredible panel member. Hey, maybe one day you want to join us, brother. You're always welcome here. He's a great member of the Twitter community. Doesn't really get involved in the console war stuff, but he puts out a significant amount of incredible news bombs on almost a daily basis. And I get a lot of our talking points from following him, because this is what he does. And so I'm not only am I very appreciative of the work that he does, I'm happy to have him in the chat. So thank you so much for that, brother. My favorite weapon, before we bring Jamie in, is called the Last Whisper. It is a silenced shotgun, and I have plasma on it, and I have I don't have the 2.5 scope. I had it, because and then you can hit it from it becomes like a sniper rifle. It's so powerful right now. It's like 8 times like 84, because I have a hat that gives me cloaking every time I do a stealth kill, but it also has 85+% of damage. It's like a cowboy hat that I found, right? It's pretty dope. So when you start combining all these things, I went into again, no spoilers here, folks. I was in a particular area where, of course, where they have like these big mechs. I am melting the mechs with one shot, bro. Dang. One shot down. It's crazy how powerful this. And again, it's one of the gold tier weapons. You have to find this. I'll show you. I can tell you where it is. I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. Go. Listen, folks, take your time.
Definitely let me know, because I'll
I will. I will definitely know. You got to get a. You got to. Okay, so there's a lot to lead up to it. You got to get this particular thing that does a particular thing. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but we'll talk on the back end. It is my favorite weapon in the game. There's this other one. It's their version of the BFG, and it shoots this ginormous bubble of energy that just go. If you're in this like closed area and there's like troops in front of you, it just melts everything in front of it. Just disintegrates everything. It's insane. I don't even know the name of it, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. But so Jamie Moran, let's get you. What's your favorite weapon so far, and are you enjoying the Outer Worlds? I can't stop talking about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm loving the Outer Worlds too. I just can't play enough. You know, been too busy. But I'm still on the first planet. Literally just made it into the Vox relay station last night.
Okay, all right. Listen, take your time, dude.
Yeah, got in via a conversation, which surprised me. That's why I love these games. You can go in all guns blazing. I'll just talk you way through it. But my favorite weapon so far is a triple barrel shotgun that fires explosive rounds. That thing just melts everything, and I love it. You know, like the best thing is if you get like 2 or 3 enemies like next to each other, it'll take all of them out.
It'll take them all out. Yes, it absolutely will. Yeah, it's just I'm glad. So now you modded it, right? Like you added a bunch of stuff to it.
No, it was the base model I picked up.
Holy cow. Good for you, man. I don't think I found that with explosive rounds. I've added explosive rounds, and I've added scopes, and I've added some different things. Yeah, I mean, the modding in this isn't difficult, folks. If you haven't played it, if you don't be overwhelmed or don't be intimidated. It's really just finding the parts and just like literally just copy and pasting it over. I said this about Avowed. I've said this about other games, and I want to say it again about the Outer Worlds 2. As much as you put into the game will return in kind. That is the best way I can describe it. If you are looking for a game that you're going to go to A to Z, you're probably going to miss out on a lot of stuff. And if that's how you want to play, I'm not going to fight you. But if you really want to put the time and like Umbra and me look around every nook and cranny, you're going to find some very unique missions. And one thing I will say, even though I'm playing Renegade, because I was playing Johnny Police Officer, which I didn't have to fire around 99.9% of the time. This time around, I'm a bit of a renegade, so I'm a bit of an asshole. And even though I am an a-hole, I have been able to mostly talk my way out of even firing around. So it's just, oh my God, just play this game. But listen, gentlemen, we got to actually get into before we actually get into the first topic, Starkey Love in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. So Starkey, great to see you here, brother, and thank you so much for the generosity. He says, how is the console releasing 6 AAA games next year supposed to be worried about GTA 6 delay? Xbox owners will have plenty to play before November. Well, you know what? It's funny, Starkey. We're going to get right into that topic right now. Gentlemen, look, the delay for Grand Theft Auto that was dropped on everyone's lap last week is ultimately not a big surprise. Now, what is surprising is there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of internal stuff going on at Rockstar Games and 2K for that matter. Unfortunately, Strauss, who is the CEO of 2K, finds himself in a little bit of hot water, which with an incident that we're not going to cover it again. It's ugly, it's messy. I don't have the facts in front of me. Needless to say, he's under fire for some accusations regarding workplace stuff. Okay, so that came out of nowhere, and that actually dropped right after the GTA delay, which again, I don't know whether that was timed or whatever, but it's not good. The other day on Friday, there were workers outside of the 2K headquarters in California striking. With there was a picket, situation going on. They apparently relieved 40 developers of their positions due to a potential Discord leak. And that's obviously bad news. So right now, the game is scheduled for November 19th of 2026. And there could be an even further delay for all we know. But look, why we're talking about this is because of games media being disingenuous, as they're known to be. Now, Ryan McCaffrey, who, of course, I don't hate anybody because he's never done anything to me, but I got to admit that I do not like his type of journalism. Unfortunately, as a creator of content for IGN that is responsible for representing the Xbox gamers. He has an Xbox podcast. At every given opportunity, he not only takes shots, but he says things that I think to be a little bit disingenuous. Like I said, I don't hate him as a human. I don't really know him like that. But what you put out, again, look, let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. I had this conversation this morning with Kay Asante. Now, you may not appreciate my opinion when it comes to gaming. Maybe it doesn't line up with yours. And you know what? That's perfectly fine because we're not always supposed to agree. The one thing that I do on a daily basis, being in front of the camera 5 days a week, is I always put my best foot forward. Now, am I pointed at times when Microsoft makes a mistake or Sony cancels a game or closes a studio or Nintendo tries to resell me Super Mario Brothers 3 for the 19th time? Yes, I can be pointed. But I always put my best foot forward, meaning that when I deliver the content and I'm using other people's work, those people get credit by being named inside and on the air live, and I also provide links to everything. Now, again, if my opinion differs from you, I hear you, but that is okay. What we're here to talk about is games media somehow painting a picture that Xbox, specifically Xbox, Jamie Moran, is in trouble because of the Grand Theft Auto 6 delay until the November 19th date. Well, here's what Ryan had to say on Twitter. And he says Microsoft might be publisher, he says Microsoft might be the publisher most heavily impacted by the GTA 6 delay. Halo Remake, Gears E-Day, Fable, and Call of Duty are all almost certainly scheduled for fall. Maybe Forza Horizon 6 2. Better ship them well before November 19th now. Okay, so we also had a website that, I guess needs clicks and wants to generate, I guess some sort of fervor, if you will. Inside Gaming goes on to say GTA 6 delay could impact Halo Remake, Gears of War E-Day, and the next Call of Duty, jumping on the IGN bandwagon. And there were a few others, folks. So here's my thing. The last time I checked, and I didn't have to go to Google for this, I just literally I have the knowledge. Outside of the Xbox platform, there is Steam, there is PC, there's Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, and there's also PlayStation 5. That's right. They have also a Pro. And Wolverine is expected to release in the fall. Wouldn't Wolverine also potentially be affected? Because listen, Wolverine is one of my most anticipated games of next year. I freaking can't wait because I love Insomniac. It's one of my favorite PlayStation studios. But as great as Wolverine is going to be, it is going to be another Marvel game. Now, that's not a problem for me because I like those games. But it's one game, and you're talking about Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, Call of Duty. Those are bangers. And could they release in the fall? Sure. But does that mean that Xbox is solely in trouble? Because I would imagine that next fall, there's going to be a big or potentially pair of big Nintendo Switch games. You could get the next Mario next year. You could get the next Zelda next holiday. Would that be considered trouble for Nintendo? What about Steam for a second, gentlemen? You know, because Grand Theft Auto is not coming to PC, right? Am I wrong? So wouldn't all of PC be in trouble because of Grand Theft Auto having to release, you know, around that time on PlayStation 5 and Xbox? I just find it disingenuous. And you know what? Even though it's not really a part of the story, this was dropped in my lap by shout out to Brett Bingham in the chat. And this just goes to show you that you honestly can't spell ignorant without IGN, ladies and gentlemen. They did a story here. I have it screen capped. It has almost 100,000 views, almost 3,000 likes, 252 reposts, and 59 quotes. 181 people bookmarked it as well. And this is a story that they wrote. According to IGN, PS5 has now officially outsold every Xbox console ever released. Now, we know that can't be true because the Xbox 360 has nearly 85 million consoles by itself. And why that's a story is because Sony just had their financials and they have shipped 84 million PlayStation 5s. That's very impressive. But do you see what I'm talking about here, folks? The click ratio that's used, and people want to fight with me. There's no such thing as Xbox tax. Boom. You got your tinfoil kufi on. Folks, here's another example of it. Jamie, let's circle the wagons. Okay, Grand Theft Auto is going to be the biggest game of 2026. It is going to break every conceivable gaming record in the history of gaming as we know it. That's a given fact. Here's another one. It's probably going to sell the best on PlayStation. I mean, again, I'm no wizard, folks. I that's just the way it's going to be, and that's okay. But the fact that somehow Xbox is the only one that's in trouble. Xbox has at least 6 first-party AAA bombs releasing, and somehow they're the ones in trouble. Let's talk about it, man.
I mean, I wish I was surprised to hear all this, but it shouldn't. Look, IGN, all these websites, they run on clickbait, right? I've said time and time again, game news isn't game news anymore at these websites, right? It's all forced negativity, trying to get people to click. Because you see an article like that, you have Xbox fans clicking on it to see what it says. You have people that hate Xbox clicking on it to see what it says, and then people share it out, and then that gets more clicks, right? People need to just look. If people want to stop seeing this kind of stuff in their feeds, and they want to stop these kinds of articles existing, just stop clicking on it. Right, that's all you have to do, because the engagement these websites get, same with YouTube videos, same with everything. If you keep clicking on it, if it's something you don't like and you're wondering what to say, just don't click on it, right? Look, who cares, right? If the PlayStation's always been a bigger console in more countries. However, during the 360 generation, the 360 became the de facto console that generation. The Wii was number one. PlayStation eventually took over 360 at the end of the generation when they finally start putting out games. But when you have a generation where one console has 84 million consoles out, and another one has 90 million consoles out, and the other one has 120 million consoles out, we should call that a pretty good generation rather than just make it, Xbox lost, right? That was a weird generation. And, I think people's obsession, the websites that run with this don't help. Like, who cares, right? Who really cares if the PlayStation sold more? Like, the Xbox became the dominant platform in general in the 360 generation, mainly because of the UK, US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Australia, right? So even though PlayStation was so big in so many more territories, Xbox was so big in those ones I just mentioned that they became the platform to talk about. You want to play a multiplayer game? You bought a 360. You want to play a one of these new indie hits, you bought a 360, right? The marketplace on 360 was the thing to check out on console. So like when I see these articles pop up, I just think people should like not bother. Like people should not be getting upset about this stuff. Like IGN is bottom of the barrel dog crap, right? The stuff they put out is terrible, right? They've been I put out videos every month of upcoming games to Xbox. I have a database of games coming to Xbox. Do you know IGN puts out lists all the time and they forget to list Xbox on these games, right? I've added them tons of times. I've said IGN, they are very disingenuous about gaming, and they do it all the time. They do about everything with gaming, right? IGN, and like look at Eurogamer. I'll just use this as an example, right? Eurogamer on Twitter averages like 5 likes per post on Twitter. Do you know when they put out their Arc Raiders review? Wow, right? I think it had a couple of thousand likes, like hundreds of replies, right? That one comment, sorry, that one post on Twitter got them engagement, got people to their website, right? And what was it? It was a ridiculously negative Arc Raiders review. And that review is terrible, by the way, right?
Yeah, it is. But by the way, just for additional context, you know that they rated Concord higher.
Ridiculous, all because of itty bitty AI voices. Come on, right? Get over yourselves, right? I know there's a lot of people at places like IGN, GameSpot. Actually, I'm not going to say it's GameSpot, but Eurogamer. They come off as pretentious, smelling their own farts, assholes, right? And we see it every day, right? IGN, we're getting that part of the generation where we're beginning to hear more about next generation consoles. So what we're going to see from IGN? The kind of crap that's going to get clicks, right? Xbox is going to have their best year ever for first-party releases when it comes to big tentpole releases, right? The thing that people have been wanting for a long time. And rather than celebrate it, rather than talk about, hey, Xbox is having a great roadmap so far next year. Let's talk about it. Let's celebrate it. Let's look forward to these games. No. They don't do that. They say, but it's going to be bad for Microsoft because of GTA. Like before you said this, Boom, I was thinking it anyway. Like, why is it Xbox has 4, as of now, 4 releases in for next year, and it's a bad thing? Yet Wolverine is meant to drop around the same time, and it's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Pick a lane, IGN. And I've seen a bunch of other people do this as well, right? Xbox, they have, and all these companies, they have a whole year to release games, right? So consider we know right now the exact date GTA 6 is going to launch. Why the hell? Why are these articles coming out? All these companies can pivot and release games at a different time, right? So like these articles are wasting not only their own time, but more importantly, mine and everyone else's, right? So like Forza Horizon 6, that can come out at any time. Fable can come out in 10. Look, Fable's probably going to be showing off in the January Direct. And I think it's going to release halfway through the year, right? Halo, it's going to be fine. And you have to look at different factors as well. Like, let's take me, for example, right? I'm going to buy GTA when it comes out, put 30 hours into the story and move on to a different game because I don't do multiplayer, right? So, like, I'm going to be playing other games. Millions of people are going to be like that because we don't want to do online slop, right? So, when I see these articles, like, I think they aren't gamers. They don't know what they're talking about because the second 2026 is mentioned for anything now. People are like, oh, but GTA is releasing then. People are forgetting that we have a whole bloody year to play games in, for companies to release games in. So, like, these articles, it's just pure dog crap, man. It's bottom of the barrel, not even trying anymore. And it's disappointing. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised because they do this on a daily basis. But IGN, Eurogamer, a lot of these outlets, they are going the way of the dodo for many reasons. And the reason why you're seeing a pushback on major games journalism, it's because of the disingenuousness, right? People don't trust these websites anymore. People are going to these, people would rather go to a YouTube channel, watch a podcast, watch a video, and like actually get some feedback. And look, a lot of YouTube channels, they aren't perfect. However, I've noticed a lot more people are way more genuine than these websites. Like IGN, like they own a bunch of different games media outlets. All their stuff doesn't make sense. They clickbait on a daily basis. And like, look, just to put this example, when the Xbox One first came out, they did a big unboxing for the console, like a lot of places do. But when the PlayStation 4 came out, they did this mass unboxing where there's 100 of them. The camera was going across the room, and there's like 100 people unboxing PlayStation 4s, some of them personalized. Right? Can you really trust like a place like that if you're an Xbox fan? I'm guessing not. But if you just look at their takes on things, their reviews of stuff, like hell, I still don't trust them for, Pokemon, was it Pokemon Ruby, too much water, right? Too much water in Pokemon Ruby, and they took it down a point, right? They did too much air button for, I think it was IGN, they did too much air button for Gears of War Ultimate Edition, stuff like that. Just don't trust them. It's just clickbait. Next year is going to be a long year, a lot of time for companies to release games in. It's that simple.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's a great point of view. I haven't trusted IGN for most of their journalists. Again, I don't have a hatred for anybody, folks. They haven't done anything to me personally, so I don't really care. But I have a distaste for the way that they do their journalism, or the so-called journalism. You know, here's another little tidbit of information, Umbra, that I want to bring to you and just drop on your doorstep. So we know that what is scheduled, right, to come out next year is at least Fable, Gears, Halo, Forza, right? And you know what? Let me add a fifth one. Modern Warfare 4 is coming out. That's 5. Now, a lot of us think that it could be more, right? I keep banging the drum of Clockwork Revolution. So that would make it 6. And they could logistically just stop right there, and that is a banger year. But it is the 25th anniversary of the platform. It is the 25th anniversary of Halo. So Halo's getting this gorgeous Unreal Engine 5 remake that we saw. But there's something else that no one in games media wants to talk about or even admit. And that there could, in fact, be a console, an actual partnered or even Xbox's own console next year. Right? Because it does make a lot of sense that if you're going to put out Halo Combat Evolved Remake, it would be pretty dope and a pretty big story if you could put out a console to go with it. Now, I'm not saying it's a lock, but we have been talking about this OEM device or even Xbox moving forward their plans. And we have a story we're going to get into next that might suggest that that is exactly what's happening. We'll talk about that on the back end of the show. But the fact that a lot of these publications are running that Xbox specifically is in a bit of a pickle is bonkers to me. They have the most AAA games. They hold the most biggest IP in gaming. And a lot of those games are coming out next year. Now, I would imagine that, people like Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer and Matt Booty, they all know that November 19th is, in fact, going to be at least Grand Theft Auto 6. It could be delayed further. We don't know. I mean, it is Rockstar, and there is a lot of internal stuff going on. But to simply suggest that this one entity, this one platform, as big as gaming is the one that's in trouble. Take-Two's not in trouble. EA is not in trouble. PlayStation, Nintendo, all good. Xbox, big trouble. I think it's preposterous. Let's get your thoughts, man. Oh, you're muted. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep. Maybe Umbra fell asleep. I'm going to have to reach out to him. All right. Well, listen. We can come back to Infinite Umbra momentarily. I do want to continue this conversation because, again, I don't care what studio you are. I don't care what platform you have. Grand Theft Auto is going to be a disruptor no matter where you are. right? We know it's November 19th, Jamie, and it is going to be a disruptor. I think people are going to have to honestly figure out a way to get their games either on the, before it or after it. Now, how far before and after, I'm not exactly sure, right? Like, look, Wolverine is expected in the fall. Does Wolverine have to get out of Grand Theft Auto's way? I mean, it possibly. Listen, Wolverine is going to be a big game. That is going to be a big seller for PlayStation and their fans. Hell, I cannot wait to play Wolverine from Insomniac Games. We may get a crossover with Spider-Man because according to Insomniac, they're in the same universe, which is awesome. There's a lot that could go on. But I again, to simply suggest that it's just Xbox that's the one that's in trouble is unbelievable, at least in my opinion. But look, I'm going to give Umber a call and see if we can get him up before we move on to one of the bigger topics of today's show. This one is just, man, look, it's just a couple of publications, but this is the running narrative. Again, if you listen to social media, and I don't really listen to social media, it's a topic that has come up more times than not. And of course, we don't talk about the trolls because, you're not supposed to feed the trolls. But Jamie Moran, as we wait for the return of Infinite Umber, I do want to bring up this report. Now, okay, so shout out to Brett Bingham, shout out to many people in the on the socials that posted this story. Now, this was written November 9th and posted at 3 p.m., written by Julian Horsey. And it's by the website called geekygadgets.com. Now, I've never heard of them before. But, again, I read the story twice, and it does have pretty big information that I think that's really going to be a big talking point for what Xbox is going to do. So what's interesting and what this should do immediately for any of the trolls in the chat, anybody that's going to listen, that's going to write me a nasty comment about Xbox being dead. This, ladies and gentlemen, proves that Xbox is far from dead. Because, again, as we know, Xbox is making more money than Windows, right? Think about that for a second, folks. So if Xbox dies, what happens? If Xbox is making more money than Windows right now, how does that work? Well, according to the story and according to the author, Julian Horsey, the new Xbox Magnus console apparently has forecasted 50 million sales target with Windows, Steam, and Game Pass support. Now, I'm going to read verbatim from the article before we bring Jamie Moran in. It says, what does it take to shake up the industry as competitive and innovation-driven as gaming has become? For Xbox, the answer seems to lie in a staggering commitment, an order of 50 million AMD chips for its next-generation console, the Xbox Magnus. This bold move signals more than just hardware upgrade. It's a declaration of intent to redefine the boundaries between consoles and gaming PCs. Imagine a device that caters to both the simplicity craved or carved by console loyalists, i.e., that's me, and the customization demand by PC enthusiasts. With Xbox Magnus, Microsoft is betting big on a future where gamers no longer have to choose between power and accessibility. Now, I'm going to read a little bit more. Now, they have this TLDR key takeaways that I think really does sum up why this is a big story. And a lot of the big websites have not picked this up. I wonder why, Jamie. Well, the TLDR on this, and this is a section that they have, which I really do like, says this. Here are their takeaways from the new information. Microsoft has reportedly ordered 50 million AMD chips for its next-generation consoles, the Xbox Magnus, signaling a major push to innovate in gaming hardware. They go on to say the Xbox Magnus will feature 2 models, a hybrid console combining PC functionality with console simplicity, and a standard console for traditional gaming setups. The hybrid model supports a Windows-based OS, multiple storefronts like Steam, and PC peripherals aiming to attract PC gamers and console users alike. Xbox Game Pass integration enhances the Magnus's value, offering access to a vast library of games and lowering the entry barrier for PC gaming enthusiasts. And lastly, the Magnus faces stiff competition from established players like PlayStation, with its success hinging on pricing, performance, and market reception. Now, what's interesting is there's been a couple of posts, even from some of the big sites, suggesting that PlayStation, or at least the PlayStation 6, Jamie Moran, might not go until 2028. That's going to be a potential Xbox 360 PS3 situation where Xbox had a year jump on them and ultimately won that generation. Now, obviously, these generations are vastly different, where Xbox is putting their games everywhere. But like I said in the video that got me in hot water with a lot of the ponies, Xbox has 3 major things going for them for the next generation. And I think it's fair to say it's power, it is the service in Xbox Game Pass, right? I mean, that's 2 really, really big ones, right? You talk about the power, you talk about, having a service like Xbox Game Pass, but here is the most important of it. I know power is important. I know service is important, but you know what's even more important? Something that used to be important to PlayStation gamers, but apparently is no longer that important. That's games, ladies and gentlemen. And Xbox Game Studios is leading the charge with some of the biggest IP that fall under the Xbox umbrella. Jamie, let's talk about this, because again, if they're reporting that 50 million chips have been ordered, it appears that Xbox, and more specifically, Microsoft, is all in on gaming.
I mean, if they have that many chips ordered, then, well, they sound pretty confident, which is what we want to see, because, look, anyone with 2 eyes, or hell, even no eyes, we can see that Microsoft, they've had a rough 2 year when it comes to perception with their console. But the truth is, they putting out the one thing people have been wanting for years: games. They have a solid lineup. This year's been incredible. Next year's looking great. And for the longest time, people have been wanting a consistent roadmap from Microsoft on a yearly basis, and we're finally at that point. So if you have a next-gen console coming out, and we'll just say 2027 for the hell of it, and you have like this roadmap of games, you have maybe free online, like that's going to be a pretty enticing proposition for people, because people will say, oh, what about the multi-platform thing? Most people play Fortnite or Warzone, right? And yeah, they'll dabble in some other games and stuff, but like that cost of the multiplayer, that could sway a lot of people. It really could. And it really depends on like what Microsoft doing with the multiple different console strategy. Like I personally don't think they're doing a Series S style thing next time. I think they're going to do the main console and the handheld, and that's it. So we don't know, like, do the multiple chips include the handheld or whatever? We'll have to see. But like, if you're an Xbox fan and you have a built-in library of games, like this is another problem these websites do. They make it seem like there's like 85 million PlayStation 5s out in the wild, 120 million Switch 2s, and 3 people own an Xbox. Right? Truth is, tens of millions of people own an Xbox. Right? Tens of millions of people are going to own an Xbox next generation. I think that, look, we have more and more people getting into gaming every day. The black hole games issue aside, gaming is pretty good at the minute, right? I don't think GTA is going to have this huge surge of console sales that people think, like previous generations. just because it's too late in the cycle. But if you're Microsoft and you come out early, and people will say they don't care about power, but what have we been told every single time Microsoft launches the weaker console, right? Or has the weaker console? People love power all of a sudden. The PlayStation 4 comes out, people love power. Every single time there's a Digital Foundry video on a video game, people post screenshots, making memes, saying, oh, Xbox 720 this, power, this, and this. And then what happens? The Xbox One X came out, and all of a sudden, nobody talked power. It was about the games. And then people were getting hyped about the new generation. And then, oh, what's this? The Xbox Series X turns out to be more powerful than PlayStation 5. But then we were told power doesn't matter. Think about it like this. New consoles were coming out, and we were told nobody cares about power. So people shifted the narrative to SSD speeds, right?
Yes.
Not power, not the thing we normally get, not the normal thing we look forward to when it comes to consoles. Bloody SSD speeds. Oh, my game loads 1 second faster than yours. However will I live, right? And this time, what happened last year? The PlayStation 5 Pro came out. All of a sudden, power, PSR, whatever it's called. People talking about power. You know, oh, I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro to play the best version of GTA 6. Okay, cool. So are you going to buy the most powerful console next generation to play the best version of all these games? Right? People pick and choose whether they care about power or not based on which console is more powerful. Right? The truth is, if you look forward to a new generation of consoles, don't you want it to be more powerful than the previous console you've been playing on? Like, that's always that's the case, right? We look forward to new consoles because they are powerful, they can do more things. But just because Xbox has the more powerful console once in a while, yeah, we have to shift the narrative, right? We're literally seen it happen. So, like, if they come out with a big, powerful console, they come out a year early, they have a stacked, roadmap and free online. Like, that's super enticing. And you're going to have people that say, oh, nobody's going to buy it. They will, right? They will. Like, look, if the people make it seem like the current situation with Xbox is the worst thing that's ever happened, right? Multi-platform games. Do you know what the worst thing that ever happened to Xbox was? The Red Ring of Death. The Red Ring of Death could have killed almost any other company, any other platform on the planet. But you know what happened? They paid for it. They got it sorted and they got it done, right? Xbox 360s were failing at a 50% rate, right? 50% of 50% of 360s were failing, right? And Microsoft survived it. And what's going on now? What's the thing people are freaking out about? Multi-platform games.
Yes.
Right? Like, I get it. People think it's weird seeing a Halo logo on a PlayStation. It is weird because it's new. It's different. However, if people try to make it seem what's happening now is worse than what happened in 2013, what happened in 2005, they are out of their mind holes. Like, I think it's crazy. Microsoft, look, they have a great roadmap ahead for next year that we know of so far. They seem pretty confident in hardware, which is what we want to see. So to me, like, look, if you pair that with the free online rumor, it's going to be a good generation next time. But, we will have crybabies about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting how at every turn, Xbox is the one that's in trouble. Yes, folks, they did not sell as many consoles this generation as the one before it and the one before that. Sony has been selling their consoles to a great degree. You take nothing away from the way that they market them. And they're doing, I mean, we just got the new financials. They're almost at 84 million shipped consoles. That's pretty damn impressive. But what's interesting here is, and we're not going to get into it today. I'm actually going to wait for our tech experts in Hargeet Chani and Kay Asante. We may even get Everborn Saga to join tomorrow to talk about this Mark Cerny interview. I know that Dirt Griggity covered it on the We Bleed Green podcast the other day. I know that there's a lot of conversation about how Cerny basically says to Digital Foundry that they are going to be here, there, and everywhere. I have his exact quotes written down and ready to go for tomorrow night's show. So tune in 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Primetime Gaming for what Cerny had to say, because it did sound like they are not only going day and date on PC, they're going to be putting their games on other places, i.e. Nintendo Switch and potentially Xbox as well. But Infinite Umbra, first of all, welcome back, brother. And I know that it's been tough because you do midnight, so we definitely appreciate you being here. But what we're talking about specifically right now is a report from geekygadgets.com. This story is written by Julian Horsey, and it was posted on November 9th, which, of course, is 2 days ago. And basically, it is reporting that Microsoft has purchased 50 million next-generation chips, a.k.a. Xbox Magnus, to prepare for the next generation. So obviously, almost from inception of conversation, this proves that Xbox is not dead. It proves that Microsoft continues to invest, and no one is going to buy 50 million chips, or at least order 50 million chips, if they did not have any thoughts, theories, or expectations on what Xbox could do for the business. And again, the business aspect of it, I don't care. I don't think anyone in this chat cares. We're here for the games. But it's just interesting considering that Microsoft is taking a major step into making sure that Xbox is here, there, and everywhere. And again, I just want to read another excerpt from the story that kind of goes with context and again brings Umbra up to speed. It says in the video below, which I'm not going to show, the poster Blaze 2K explores how the Xbox Magnus aims to bridge the gap between two distinct gaming ecosystems through its hybrid functionality and innovative hardware design. And he goes on to say, from its ability to run PC storefronts like Steam to its support for peripherals such as keyboards and monitors, the Magnus, or the Xbox Magnus, is shaping up to be more than just a console. It's a potential fantastic option. And it goes on to say this, folks, but the fierce competition from the PlayStation 5 and the challenges of delivering on such an ambitious vision, will the Magnus live up to its promise? Let's unpack to what makes the next generation console a bold gamble in an already crowded market. Now, look, Umbra, we've talked about this before. There are some rumors floating around that Sony is not going to go until at least holiday of 28, which puts the OEM device potentially next year. That would give them 2-year jump on PlayStation 6. And if Microsoft or Xbox specifically launches their new console manufactured by Microsoft November of 27, that's still potentially a year in front of the PlayStation 6. We could have an Xbox 360 PS3 situation. And again, folks, if you're in the chat and you are an anti-Xbox person, you're probably going to get really mad about what I'm going to say. And I don't mean to be trolling, but I talked about it just before we brought Jamie Moran into the conversation. Xbox is going into the next generation with a lot in tow. They will have the power. We know that. They're going to have a more powerful console. They already have 6 games slated for next year, which could launch with an OEM device, and their first-party output is unlike anyone else in gaming. And when you factor in Xbox Game Pass, even at the $30, and again, folks, I'm still going to bang the drum of I thought it was dumb, and I would have never signed off on a $10 increase. But for me, it's still worth it. And again, I don't pay full price because I find deals. But when you consider power, first-party output, and Xbox Game Pass in services, Xbox is leading the charge going to next generation. I want to get your thoughts on this report of 50 million AMD chips being ordered to support their goals for next generation.
And it's kind of funny because I hear the 50 million. It makes me kind of think like of Dr. Evil. Yeah, 50 million consoles. But yeah, back from La La Land, by the way. It was a very good dream. Anyway, that said, yeah, this I think this tells you like it's a commitment. That's the bigger thing that I see. In like I was surprised to see that too. It hasn't been officially confirmed by Microsoft yet. Though they likely wouldn't speak on any rumors, right? But yeah, 50 million tells you that it's a commitment, and that's a lofty kind of goal too. I mean, right now they have yet to hit 50 million sales with the Series X and S, which to me is a shame because honestly, I think it's the better console. Just being real, I think it deserves that. But sometimes you can't always get what you want, right? And sometimes the best things or the better performance thing or better platform or whatever it may be or game doesn't necessarily do well. It's unfortunate but true. But I think this right here tells you though that they have a commitment. If this is to be true, right? It speaks to a commitment for next gen. Also, to your point, Boom. Lynn, I believe her name is. She's the CFO.
Yes.
Yep, she's the CFO of Sony. Lynn Tao. She spoke on it there. The PS5 only being in the middle of its life cycle.
Yes.
So to your point, if this is to go early, which has been a rumor for a while now, as far as the next Xbox coming out in like 27 or 26. 26 was originally the question, I believe, and then it was like, oh, 27 could be it. If it's coming out early like that, we could be looking at. It's possible. You never know. I mean, you never can speak to what can be, right? When Xbox first got in the game, nobody would have thought they would have challenged PlayStation the way they did with the 360. But this could be a case of a 360 kind of thing where you have this next gen that comes out before PlayStation gets there, especially if it's as performant as the rumors are suggesting, and it's going to be as powerful and more powerful than the next PlayStation, if you will, please PS6. So I think it's so long as they deliver there, and the marketing and everything like that. To me, I think that's always been, or lately it has been, Microsoft's biggest hurdle is actual promotion and marketing, right? Like they do a different style of it, and there's no shade to the team, but I think they have a different way of approach lately, which is more of word of mouth, kind of smaller campaigns, things like that. It's not these grandiose things that they used to do in a lot of ways at times. And I think maybe if they can get it more aggressive, if they get more aggressive with the approach of 50 million units and get more aggressive in the marketing to match it, maybe there could be something like that. Maybe this could be. And to me also too, I think we've all kind of settled to the idea that this could be their last hurrah as far as them making their own device and not having a third-party OEM do it. So this could be them kind of going out with a bang, so to speak. And so there's one other thought that I have, and that is the rumor that the next Xbox will be modular. So if they have 50 million units, the idea could be that you get this and you can try to update it going forward, right? You don't necessarily have to buy a next Xbox because you can just continuously upgrade this one as you would a PC, right? So maybe that's their idea and the design that they're aiming for when it comes to next gen, is that it's going to be powerful out of the gate, but if it's modular, you can upgrade it and have an even more powerful, essentially next gen, if you would, an 11th gen after this 10th gen that's coming up. So I don't know. This is just tinfoil headery, of course, just conjecture. But I will say that 50 million, if this is true, it to me would speak to a commitment from them to actually stick in for the gaming business for a long time. And that's the worry. The worry has really been about Microsoft exiting gaming. And if this is true, yeah, this would change that notion, right? This would clear a lot of that worry out of the way. And I mean, I still don't understand why people would still feel that way anyway, seeing how much they spent on gaming. I don't think they're just going to be like, all right, well, that's enough. I think after they made the purchase of ABK and the return they're getting on that, I don't think they're going to do that. I think there will be changes, unfortunately, on some of the games trying to kind of get that ROI. So like certain games, maybe they want to cater to, like Sony has started doing, where they're like, oh, we got to have only this type of game to make sure we can get, these types of sales. And I don't want them to go that way. I don't want everything to become kind of homogenous. But that could be the case. But I don't know. I just hope that we can still get, smaller games like we've been getting from them that you won't get on PlayStation necessarily, right? You won't get them to give you wouldn't get a Grounded from them necessarily. They're going to kind of give you the standard, third person over the shoulder action adventure or whatever type of game. And so I would hope that Microsoft still allows for that budgeting wise, to allow them to still give us smaller games, you know what I mean, that's different and stand from the standard of AAA. Gotta be, Call of Duty-esque, bring back, Black Hole Gaming mass, ROI. I hope that they don't go to that. But yeah, this to me just speaks to commitment. And I think people should be optimistic because of it, if that is true. Again, we don't know. And the one last thing, and I'll say, and to wrap it up, is that, and I've said this many times, Boom, as you remember, is like the pricing is the bigger thing, right? Yeah, like we could speak to performance and everything all day, but the fact of it is that if it has all that performance and it's powerful as hell, and we're looking at current trends and we're looking at the economy, we're looking at these tariffs, the thing is probably going to be expensive as hell. So how do they circumvent that? That's the bigger question to me. How do they address that? And you heard my solution, which is to kind of do a GameStop-esque campaign, a year in advance, to allow people to pay into the.
They could bring back that program that had you, get Game Pass and everything. Basically, yeah, the All Access program. A lot of people got their consoles doing it that way.
They could, do that and allow for people to pay into the thing and pay it off before it launches. And you have your money in advance, from the customer, and the customer has their next gen system confirmed. It's a few ways I'm sure they can go about it, but I would just say, I only say that just because nowadays, man, like, yeah, it's tough out here, right? Like it's luxury to get these devices now. At least it will be for, next gen. It's going to be more of an enthusiast device, right? It's going to, much like we got the Xbox Ally, it's more of an enthusiast device. Yeah. The price, right? It's going to be a sticker shock for some people. So I just hope that they're thinking ahead that way to allow for people to buy into the next gen and giving them options, because it's going to be tough. That's what I would say. But yeah.
I mean, it's a great point, and price is going to be, look, the thing that we don't know, and the thing you know what? The one thing I think we can say with full authority is that these console makers, meaning Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, are done subsidizing and taking losses on the actual hardware. Now, there's reasons for that. One, they'd rather not take losses because they are all corporations that want money for their investors. But here's the issue. As we've seen by numerous reports by Matt Piscatella and Circana, gamers are buying less games. And if you know anything about the business, what circumvented the loss for console sales, the actual loss from, they paid $600 to make this device, but they sold it at a loss at $500. They would make that money on the back end through software. Well, software is not selling like it used to, and that's probably because games are very expensive. There's not enough time in the day, and people just do not have that wastable capital as they did 10, 15, 20 years ago. So all of that, if you take all of that into account, that's why things are the way that they are. So they are going to make you pay for the console. Now, is there someone like PlayStation still going to subsidize some of it? Yeah, I believe PlayStation would, because they're going to go based on how many listen, the PlayStation 6 is going to sell whenever it comes out, whether it be 28 or 29 or whatever, it's going to sell. People that bought a PlayStation 4 that moved on to a PlayStation 5 are probably going to buy a PlayStation 6. How much that PlayStation 6 is going to be? Well, I mean, the Pro is $750 right now, right? The PS5 Pro is $749.99. Without tax, that's, after tax, it's $800 in 2025. How much is a PlayStation 6 going to cost in 2028? Folks, I have no idea. But I'm sure it's going to be just as expensive, maybe an $800 console. So you ask yourself, well, what is it? If that's $800, the Xbox has got to be $1,200 because that's the number that's running around. I don't think so, folks. I think it could be $1,000. Now, I don't think anybody here is happy about paying $1,000, but I'll be honest with you, if you give me an opportunity to make my own Xbox, meaning that, let's say, for instance, an Asus or a Lenovo or an Alienware is saying, hey, listen, you design the Xbox. My Xbox is going to be $1,500 because I'm going to want everything. I want a 2 terabyte drive. I want a fast SSD. I want a 5090 in this thing. Yeah, give me all the bells and whistles, but that's me. But look, all I know is that this story, along with many others before it, do prove that Xbox is here to stay. Being that Xbox is making more money than Windows right now today proves that Xbox is not going anywhere. So anyone running with the Xbox is dead. You're just looking like a boob. So just stop. Again, you have your opinions. If you don't like Xbox for one reason or another, fine, not a problem. But to suggest that they're going the way of the dodo based on all of the information that's readily available at your fingertips is just egregious. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to catch up on Super Chats. We're going to get to the last topic of the show, and we're going to bring Umber in first to make sure that, because obviously I want to get him out of here because he's had a long night. But we do have a topic. Now, this is one that is, it's fun, folks. It's fun because we had some information yesterday where on the Xbox Lunch Break special, the entire episode was dedicated to Microsoft-produced RPGs. And there are a lot of them that they have currently. And one of the conversations that came up is something regarding Obsidian. We're going to get into that in a hot second, but let me just catch up on Super Chats. We have here Sith Lord dropping a very generous $2 Super Chat. Sith Lord goes on to say, I lost respect for Ryan after the Tomb Raider fiasco. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the glaring ones for him. And he followed that up with defending Final Fantasy VII being held back as an exclusive. I know he's had some really, really poor takes. And for an Xbox, an Xbox guy, supposedly, he always seems to throw Xbox under the bus. Not a really good look for Ryan McCaffrey of IGN. But again, I say this all the time. You can't spell ignorant with IGN without IGN. Look at me, the broke boy. Drops a very generous $2 Super Chat. He says, no ghosts at the Grand is scheduled for 2026 as well. Yeah, I mean, that I'm going to be honest with you. It looks like a simulator with ghosts. I'm going to play that game. That game looks like a lot of fun. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, again, it's in Game Pass day and date, so no one's going to have to race out to buy it. But, it's a smaller studio. I do hope that people buy it. So Will, the broke boy insider, drops an additional very generous $5 Super Chat and says, not sure how many people saw when you finish Black Ops 7's campaign, it will open campaign endgame, which will be an extraction shooter like game mode. Wow, that's pretty damn interesting. I did not see that. I know that's coming out on the 14th, folks. We are a couple of days away from it. You can preload Black Ops 7 right now. I've already paid for the Vault Edition, which I will do every time it's in Game Pass, and it is in Game Pass again. I'm very excited for it. I cannot wait for the single player, but to be fair, I didn't finish the single player for Black Ops 6. I have to get to that because that multiplayer just stole my life. Oscar Wheat in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, free online. The ability to use a PlayStation controller and day-and-date PC games as well as Steam. How can Sony compete with that? And you know something? That's one of the things that I keep leaving out of the context or out of context. And that is the fact that a rumor has surfaced where Xbox is not going to, and I said Nextbox because that's what it should be called, but apparently the next Xbox is not going to have paid for multiplayer. That's going to be a really big deal if that comes to fruition, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on Sony. But listen, Umbra, let's bring you in and let's talk about Fallout New Vegas 2. Now, again, folks, this is an original topic, and I bring it up because yesterday we got a lot of information from Todd Howard, who was interviewed by GQ. And a lot of the publications picked it up, including, which I will add both stories to the show notes when I find them. VGC, Video Games Chronicles. They reported that not only is Fallout 3 Remake real and happening, they talked about different things going on with the Elder Scrolls 6, meaning that according to Todd Howard, it's, quote, way off from release. Now, one of the things, and again, look, I said that this is a good problem to have, but it is a problem for Bethesda nonetheless, Umbra, and that is that they have 3 massive-sized IPs that they have to contend with. They got Starfield out the door in 2023. They released a lukewarm received DLC in 24. We did not get the rumored Starborn DLC this year, maybe because of controversy or feedback. Maybe that next DLC is happening with potentially the PS5 release next year. We don't know. They also have, of course, Elder Scrolls 6, which is in development, and it's been in development, according to this story, since 2024. So it's got a year under development. So I would imagine that you're not going to see this game potentially until 2028, hopefully not much further. But where we run into a problem here, Umbra, is Fallout. Now, Fallout 5, and I've talked about this yesterday, and I've talked about it on many podcasts before, I think it'd be a real crummy thing to have to wait until 2032 potentially to get Fallout 5. And that could be a big thing. That could actually be a reality, considering that they are still working on Starfield. They are still obviously in active development for the Elder Scrolls 6. And we have no idea where they are for Fallout 4. I mean, Fallout 5. But, Umbra, this is where I want to bring in into the conversation Obsidian Entertainment. Now, Obsidian Entertainment, I think, should be Publisher of the Year. Not publisher. Studio of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Publisher of the Year should go to Xbox for sure, but Studio of the Year, that title should be graciously handed to Obsidian. Because not only did they release Avowed in the beginning of the year, they released Grounded 2, which is still in preview, which came. A lot of people very much enjoyed that game, and the well-received Outer Worlds 2. Right, that's 3, but they just released which is in beta, an updated mode for the Pillars of Eternity, and it's a turn-based combat mode, which is wild. They did those 4 things in 1 year. Now, we got information yesterday that Avowed 2 is in pre-production. We got some information that they are working on several projects. Though one of those projects, even though the writer of the original Fallout New Vegas publicly said that he's not working on a Fallout New Vegas 2, I tend not to believe him. And I'm going to tell you why. Fallout New Vegas, for a lot of people like myself, is my favorite Fallout of them all. I mean, that's just no doubt about it. If you played the game, I've played through it twice. I've enjoyed it just as much the first time as I did the second time. Well, the one thing you'll learn about the Outer Worlds 2, should you decide to pick it up and play it, is that not only does it really take from what was great of the Outer Worlds 1, it really does invoke a lot of very similar ideologies and takes from Fallout New Vegas. So again, if you liked those games, you're probably going to love the Outer Worlds. But I do want to focus our attention on the Outer Worlds too, because this is a no-brainer, Umbra. I think that this game, if it was announced, would set the interwebs on fire. It would, of course, be a multi-plat. It would launch here, there, and everywhere, and that's fine. But I think most people, like myself, who do not listen, I don't play Fallout 76. Yes, was I invited to the event? Yes. Did I enjoy myself? Absolutely. Am I going to pay monthly to have my own world that I can just play solo? I'm not going to do that. And as great as Fallout 76 has become, it's still not for me, right? They just released Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. It's up on Xbox. For some reason, you don't get you have to pay for it, which is a little weird. Instead of it being in Game Pass, you got to actually buy the upgrade or buy the game again, which I don't know if the upgrade is an automatic thing or not. Again, that's not the story here, but we do have Fallout 3 remake potentially releasing, and it could release this year. But I think it's time. I think it's time to have Obsidian return to New Vegas. And if it's not New Vegas 2, maybe it's Fallout New York or Fallout LA or Fallout something, because
Fallout
again,
Chicago.
Fallout Chicago for you, kind sir. I just think that it's time to let them do a Fallout, considering that you have a hit TV series that is launching in December for season 2. You don't have a new Fallout game to go with it. And quite frankly, Obsidian does seem extremely capable to not only be able to do the sequel to Avowed, but could add Fallout to that mix, because they released 4 games and a major update in 1 year to Pillars of Eternity. I want to get your thoughts on whether that you think they should be handed the reins, and more specifically, bring back or at least do a sequel to one of the best Fallouts in the series in Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, this has been a long time thing fans have wanted to, is for them to get their hands back on New Vegas, onto the Fallout series. To me, it seems like a match made in gaming heaven. They've already spoken, by the way, and said that I forgot who it was from Obsidian. It may have been what's my man named Josh? I forgot his last name.
Josh Sawyer.
Yeah, I think he may have been Josh Sawyer. But they spoke on it, saying that they would love to do that, to work on a new on New Vegas again, or at least a sequel. Yeah, this to me, it seems like something that should happen, man. It would be dope for it to happen. But they just missed their anniversary for it, mind you. It was in October of this year. It was the 15th year anniversary. So that would have been something for that, to actually hear an announcement for that or something. We have a blueprint, though. We saw what happened. Excuse me. We saw what happened with the Oblivion remake in Unreal Engine 5. They could easily go that route and have, to somebody point who just mentioned it in chat, they could easily go that route and have somebody, put it to a Unreal Engine upgrade, if you will, for now. But I mean, if they're going to get Obsidian on it, being the workhorses that they've shown themselves to be, maybe a full remake would be in order for them to do. I wouldn't be against that, and maybe something they can use the new creation engine. Was it going to 3 now? Or was it like they could do that? Like I wouldn't be against it. I mean, they've shown Obsidian that they know how to use Unreal as well. So like I can see them doing that. In certain areas, mind you, in Outer Worlds kind of look reminiscent of the Fallout world in some ways, to be honest, art style wise. But yeah, and desolation, and depending on where you're at. But man, I would love it. I think it would be something the fans would love. I think it's something that both studios would actually appreciate. I could see that being dope. I could see that being dope. And who knows, maybe that could be something, if they were to actually work on that, that could be something that's you know, or if not even them, let's say they just do the remake that's out that I was saying, and they do the have a team that's going to port and put it in Unreal Engine. That could be something of a launch title for next gen. Like it's a lot of ways they can go with this, and I feel like, I hope that at least that they capitalize on the new, I don't want to say fandom, but the new, you know, spotlight that's been put on Fallout as a series because of the show. Like it's ripe for that. It's, you just have to actually cash in on it, so to speak. I mean, you go back to the classic Fallout though. Like this is what, like, I want them to modernize it. I was just having this discussion with the fellas a while ago before I jumped in, and one of the things I want for Bethesda, and I think Obsidian has kind of done it, is to kind of modernize in a way. And I would love for them to do a full remake of this where they actually modernize certain things, certain elements to, you know, make it more palatable for today's world. And you know, if they're going to make a sequel to it, or how, from what I remember reading, like there's so many ways they can go about doing it. I just think that it would be dope to have them actually get their hands back on a Fallout.
I agree.
But even if it's not New Vegas, just have Obsidian on it. Obsidian is just, like you said, I don't think there's any argument that could be made against them being the publisher, or excuse me, the developer of the year. I think you would be right. Microsoft will be publisher, and they will probably be developer of the year, just because of the workhorse ethic they've put out there and putting out quality releases at that. But yeah, man, I think, you know, like, again, they I believe Fallout New Vegas sold like 12 million back in the day. That, you know, and the beauty of Bethesda games, and in that case Obsidian and Bethesda, is that the modding scene. So if they can give us something with that and actually have tie in the, let's say they do use Unreal, they could actually allow for the what is the name of that thing that they were showcasing on Unreal with the tech? They could, I mean, because, well, maybe that's why they have to stick with creation. I'm thinking out loud here. Never mind me. Yes, Erex, Fallout in Chicago would be the best option. I agree. Yes. But yeah, well, yeah, never mind. I'm kind of spitballing in my head thoughts, but yeah, I would love for them to actually get a chance to explore it. And I think the fandom wants them to get a chance to do so, personally. And I think the flair and the storytelling and the humor that Obsidian has,
yes,
man, I think another Fallout from them would be actually closer, I think, in line to the show. The show has good humor, actually.
It absolutely does. Yeah, and it does seem like it's almost a one-to-one, as if, again, nothing against Bethesda's Fallout. Bethesda's Fallouts are great, but there's something about an Obsidian RPG that has the seriousness, but it also has the comical side of telling the story. And depending on, you know, who you interact with, I mean, there's been times with the Outer Worlds 2 that I've literally laughed out loud based on someone's response. Like, even if you listen to, like, okay, so there's, again, no spoilers, but there's a particular part in the game where there's a group of people that are striking. If you just stop and you listen to what they're chanting, it's freaking hilarious. And that's the kind of humor you do get with Obsidian.
For sure. Sotness said Fallout Chicago would just be regular Chicago.
Oh, Jesus. Chicago is kind of violent. I'm not going to front.
Hey, listen, my beautiful city here is nowhere near Fallout style.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I'm going to be honest with you. No, but I like what you're putting down, Umbra. I do think that, you know, given the history, given the professionalism, given what they have done both in the past and what they continue to do in the present, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that you got to give them Fallout. You got to let them do their thing. If you want Fallout 5 to be, you know, maybe it's the swan song for Todd Howard, because obviously he's not going to retire for a couple of years. Maybe he's going to hang around to launch the Elder Scrolls, and Fallout 5 is his last. Maybe he's going to take it a step further and hang out until he can do Starfield 2, or who knows, or the next Indiana Jones with Machine Games. But at some point, he's going to want to retire.
Yeah, because he spoke about that before, right? Like he can't stay in forever. And that next gen would be, I mean, that's for that release. I think Elder Scrolls might have, and he already spoke about how it's they're not far into it yet. That thing probably won't release until 2030, if we're being honest.
I mean, their development is usually 5 years. So if we're being fair and it's 5 years, right? The Elder Scrolls supposedly started in 2024. That gets it out the door in 2029, right? Then they got to start working on Fallout. When does Fallout 5 release? 2034? I'll be 64 years old, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to be that old playing Fallout. I'm sorry. And I don't want to play Fallout 76. So for me, I think the best option is, listen, the remake thing, it worked with Oblivion. It's probably going to work really well with Fallout 3. I'm so desperate for an Obsidian told Fallout that I would take an Oblivion-like remake of Fallout New Vegas just to tide me over. But the truth of the matter is, I think that it's time to give those reins, or at least allow for Obsidian to make their own Fallout that's not a mainline Fallout. Let them go to Chicago. Let them go to New York. Them go to LA. These are stories that they could tell that are side pieces, if you will, for the Fallout franchise, while allowing remakes to hold, to kind of tide people over, let people enjoy Fallout 76, which is not me, but we can all still wait for Fallout 5 when it comes in 100 years from now. I don't know. Any additional context, Umber, before we bring Jamie Moran in?
Nothing else really. I think, Boom. I think I've exhausted the thoughts I got on it.
Okay, that's fair.
A bit more, but yeah, would love to have him, actually work on it, man.
Yeah. That's a great point of view, and I think they've earned it. I honestly think that they have earned it. But Jamie Moran, you are, besides being Mr. Mass Effect, besides being the sci-fi guy, if you will, you love Fallout. And I think that this is a great conversation to have, considering all of the information that came out of yesterday's news about Obsidian having, pumped the brakes on the Outer Worlds 3. And there's reasons for it, right? It's not because the game isn't doing well. They have a bunch of DLC they have to come out with that they are currently making for Fallout. I mean, for the Outer Worlds 2, right? We know that they're working on Avowed 2, which I'm very excited. And there's rumors that they're working potentially on a Fallout game. Do you think that it's time for Todd Howard and Bethesda, or more specifically, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, to allow one of the best in the business when it comes to making RPGs make a new Fallout that's not Fallout 5, potentially being a sequel to Fallout New Vegas?
I think now we have a bigger chance than any other time for any other company to make a Fallout game, because look, these companies are beginning to realize, if I remember correctly, it was Gamescom where a bunch of developers were talking about how they need to get games out faster, right? The reason why we had amazing games come out in the 7th generation, so many different games that had sequels, because games took 2 to 3 years to make. Now they take 5 to 6 to 8, and if you have a game like Fallout, it's such a well-established IP, a beloved IP. You have a TV show on Amazon pop out last year, and it made a 9-year-old game #1 across Europe, right? That probably really shook things up at Microsoft. I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Spencer got Todd Howard on the phone and basically everyone in Exile and Obsidian as well, because they have to get Fallout games out quicker, right? We can't have one Fallout game every decade now. That's the reality we're going to live in if things don't change. So, look, Obsidian, they can clearly make smaller scale RPGs. does a new Fallout game have to be a massive game like a Fallout 4, 3, or New Vegas? I don't really think so. I think you can have different kinds of Fallout games. You could have a smaller game. They need a new Fallout game pretty soon. When I say pretty soon, I don't mean like, look, 2032 to 2034 is when the next Fallout game's coming out. That's unacceptable. You know, we don't want to we don't want to wait that long. Right? That's why there's so much excitement for the Fallout 3 remake, because one, people are going to play this for the first time. It's essentially a new game for a lot of people. But for a lot of people like us, yeah, I want to play it. Can't wait. However, we just want a new Fallout game. You know, and that's only really going to happen, like this decade at least, if Microsoft gets Obsidian or In Exile on that game. And look, I think that like the new Vegas 2 thing, I think personally I'd rather have like a different area as opposed to like revisiting New Vegas, but like just new Fallout content. We can't wait, what, 10 years, 9 years for a new Fallout game. That's crazy, man. Like, look, the Elder Scrolls 6 stuff that came out yesterday, right? How the game is still some time away. The last time we got a new Elder Scrolls game was 2011. That is crazy. So like these developers, they have to get something. They have to sort something out. And you know, we've apparently heard that Avowed 2 is happening, and the Outer Worlds 3 isn't happening. Although I do think Outer Worlds 3 will happen, but like you said, they've still got the DLC to do. They probably aren't even planning a third game yet. But like, if I was Microsoft, and especially if I was Obsidian as well, like they should pretty much inquire to make a Fallout game, because decades in between Fallout games, we just can't have this. Like, look, GTA has been the hot topic for forever now, right? When GTA 6 eventually comes out, we're going to start seeing clickbait for GTA 7 the day after, right? Do you know what year it's going to be when GTA 7 comes out? It's probably going to be like 2042, right? That's like a year from Blade Runner, right? That's crazy. Yeah. Fun fact, right now, we are actually in a time set after Blade Runner. That's depressing. But we need a new Fallout game. It's only going to happen if someone else makes it. Bethesda Game Studios, they're great, but they take forever to make these games. I'm sure Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be phenomenal. I'm sure Fallout 5 is going to be phenomenal. But man, 6, 7, 8 years in between games, like, no wonder Bethesda wanted to be, bought by Microsoft, because if you have one of these games that takes 6, 7, 8 years to make, and it doesn't sell the 12 million copies you needed to day one, you're basically going to have to get shut down, right? So, like, yeah, back to the whole like Fallout thing. Microsoft, they need to look into this, have something happen, maybe have a new studio formed that can make Fallout games, and have Todd Howard overlook. But like, if we don't see a Fallout game from Obsidian in the next 4 years, I'd be shocked, because I bet that TV show and how Fallout 4 became #1 across Europe, how many, like, Fallout 76 is popular now. Right, Fallout 76 used to be a joke, and now it's a game people love. People went back to it. They're like, oh, it's fixed now. There's a bunch of new content. There's even more content coming with an expansion, and there's the next gen update coming out next year. There's excitement around that game. So, like, there's a clear want and need for new Fallout content, but it's not going to happen unless Obsidian or In Exile do it. But that's just my take.
No, I mean, and it's a good take, and I do think that the success of the show did speed up some things. Now, I don't know how long before the show came out that Fallout 3 remake was being considered. Again, these things are years in advance. That's potentially happening still this year. I think that, again, I'm not a betting kind of a guy, but if you want the marketing speak to help your remake that could potentially be as good as Oblivion is, and sell a bunch of copies, if you have Fallout 3 remake and it looks and runs magnificent on an Xbox Series console or PlayStation, or of course on PC, And, you saw this, you talked about it, that there was old games that were #1 in Europe with the show. It seems like there's a reason why, Burning Springs for Fallout 76 is releasing in December, right alongside the Fallout Season 2. But again, that's not for everybody, and certainly not for me. I would take a Fallout 3 remake / remaster, and I think that it is time. We cannot wait until 2030 something for Fallout. I'm sorry, as much as I love Bethesda, they're going to have to figure out a better way of putting out these games. And again, only time is going to tell, but I do think that Obsidian has earned the right, in my opinion, to make a Fallout game. Maybe not Fallout 5, because that's Todd Howard's baby, but they certainly can go to other places within the world, whether that be Fallout New York, Chicago, Utah, wherever your favorite place is. There is room for additional stories that do not have and can run parallel with what Todd Howard's doing with Bethesda and Fallout 5. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here. Let me just make sure I am caught up on Super Chats. We have 2 channel member chats here. One from House Flan in the chat, who's been a channel member for 27 months. So House Flan, great to see you here, brother, and thank you for the continued support. He says, Mothers made a Fallout London. Yes, they did. Fallout Bakersfield is in the works. They should help modders and produce those as official content. Yeah, I think I know Fallout London has been doing very well. That is a modded game that was made, that was sanctioned, by the way, but by Bethesda, but it just unfortunately does not have an official release. I'd love to see Fallout New London come to consoles. That would be pretty dope. And you know what? Being that the game is done, they should consider, but they'd have to pay them. And I don't know if that's what they want to do, but listen, that's an easy way of getting a new Fallout game that a lot of people are playing, but a lot of us won't because it's on PC and not on console. We also have Adidas 20 in the chat, has been a channel member for 33 months. Brother, that's very kind of you for the support, but also it's awesome to see you here in the chat. He has simply says, salute to everyone. Salute to you, kind sir. Thank you so much for joining. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on the Xbox Factor podcast. Let's get everyone out of here. And we'll start first with Infinite Umber. Sell the brand of the fix. Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have a new panel member. Of course, normally it's you and Danny, Daniel J. McGee, that break down not only gaming, but pop culture. And there's a lot happening with the MCU. Doomsday is expected to have its first, not teaser trailer, but full-on Doctor Doom whooping ass and taking names during the opening for, Fire and Ash. That's coming out, and
Avatar.
Thank you, sir. Avatar, Fire and Ash, and supposedly that may not be the only trailer. You might actually get a Spider-Man brand new day with the Punisher and Hulk. I cannot wait to see these films, brother. Sell the brand. Where can people check out the fix on Thursdays? But more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for holding it down. Thank you, chat, for coming by and supporting. You can find me Infinite Umber or Umber Infinite on social media. You'll find me either way. And as Boom said, the Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern for the fix. That's with myself, Daniel J. McGee, and Crusader. So yeah, come by. We would appreciate you guys' support as well there. I also on the 20th, Boom, which you would be a part of.
Yep.
Definitely going to have this round table of creators to come by and talk to you guys, give you some questions, a deeper, situate or understand how you guys got to where you were at in gaming, things of that nature. Just other questions I'm coming up with still. Yeah, so that should be fun. And that'll be on the 20th, right before we get some Thanksgiving dinner up in here. So
excellent. Yeah, the Thanksgiving's the following would be the following Thursday, which would be the 27th.
Yep.
All right, brother. We're looking forward to that. Now that's episode 200, correct?
Oh, I wish I'd be 100 and something, maybe 104, 400.
Okay.
One of those things. I've looked past the old 100th thing because never mind.
It just didn't line up. But listen, well, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to stop by and give you my takes on what it's good. It's always interesting to hear what got people into content creation, more specifically podcasting. Again, not easy to do, folks. Looks easy, but a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, and I cannot wait to tell my story. I've told it before, but it's going to be very interesting to hear others. But we'll definitely do that for the 20th. You can lock me in for that. The elusive gamer, Jamie Moran. Let's sell the brand of the All Things Xbox podcast, where you and Logan Meyer on a weekly basis break down all of the biggest news for gaming. And quite frankly, I would imagine you're going to have anywhere between 13 and 17 topics, as you normally do. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people check out your YouTube channel for the elusive gamer, but more importantly, subscribe and follow you on social media?
Yeah, thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, so we have, I think, around 14 to 16 topics today, which should be fun. We're a 2-hour show on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. I basically cover Xbox. There's no forced negativity, just no clickbait, none of that stuff. All Things Xbox podcast is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And me, myself, and Logan Meyer basically, cover everything in the Xbox space. Like I said, a lot of topics. It's always fun over there. And the chat is always a laugh. But yeah, that's 6 p.m. Eastern on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. My Twitter is also JBManUK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Well, listen, gentlemen, appreciate you being here and talking about all of the incredible Xbox gaming news. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us here. We had nearly 600 people watching live. And of course, being that this channel is still relatively small, we definitely appreciate all of the likes and the shares and the views and everything that comes along with doing a YouTube channel. We are officially under 700 away. As a matter of fact, we are like 692, which again, it's still a significant amount, but we are on the hunt, ladies and gentlemen, for 17K, and you can get us there by simply subscribing to the YouTube channel. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can hit the bell icon to know when we go live. And I go live Monday through Friday. And of course, we do have 3 Xbox dedicated channels for each show. Of course, we are going to be back here tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for primetime gaming with Mr. BoomStick and friends. And of course, the rest of the week plays out. There should be more information. I know that there is a state of play later today. We'll see what they show. Hopefully they show something new. Would be really nice to see. But of course, for Infinite Umbra, or should I say Unreal Infinite Umbra, the elusive gamer, Jamie Moran, and myself want to wish everybody a great day. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. And of course, we're going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he'd say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.